Because
Right.
there are women
Right.
that selectively place them where if they're still wearing a dress or something, you wouldn't know. And I think from the art of seduction or being um, having a tattoo like that in that manner to me is definitely more appealing than when you see certain women with the monster
Ta-da!
tattoos on their arms and stuff. And it's like, whoa.
If it's okay for me to include the piercing thing and with the tattoos, um, it was like the piercings was a big deal for me because this was like when I was in high school. Founder of Ellington at the time was Mike Malone and Peggy Cooper. So Mike Malone did an article in a newspaper that he had a profile piece of himself, and you saw all these earrings. And that right there was inspiring, okay? But I didn't
Okay.
see it as a trend. I saw it as a, adornment, an art
Hmm.
piece. It's like artsy. And so, hey, I just like, when I had a chance to get my ears pierced, I was like, no, I don't think and I was thinking, like, I'm not going to get 50,000 holes in my ears. I'm just going to get, like, I wanted them to be meaningful. So I got 4 holes in my ear that represent. I already had 2, so I got 3 more on each side, which represented my, the lineage of my great grandmother, my great great grandmother, my grandmother, my uh, and my mother. So that's like a symbolic reason for getting those holes, those extra holes. I think I told you people. I don't believe I've ever even dated anybody with a tattoo. It's amazing when I think about, like, I'm talking about like a serious relationship, because I don't think I've ever dated anybody that had a tattoo. I think I'm more of, I look outward and I don't see it on my body, but I love to see it on other people's bodies. I love to see tattoos. I love tattoos. The way people, adorn themselves. I'm seeing more people of color now with tattoos. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So, even though I see other people, but I'm seeing more because I'm, surrounded by a lot of my peers and friends with now, they got tattoos. So our piece is, as people mature too, your body changes. So that
Right. That's
Black
right.
Panther, yeah, when skin sags or, goes less a little, as long as you keep it tight. If you keep it
Oh, no,
tight,
that's
that's
right.
good.
Hmm.
But believe me, when that canvas sags, everything else sags on the canvas. Yeah, but that's something to think about. But when you're young, I mean, she was
Hmm.
young, and you don't think about that. Noticing a lot of young ladies now, women, um, you can see their tattoos. My niece has hers placed. They're really nice, but she has
Okay.
one on the back of her neck. She has one on the back of her neck, behind her ear. I mean, she's a pretty person to look at, so it's like it doesn't take away from her or anything like that. But I'm just like, I was gonna say uh, but she has some you don't see, and then she has tattoos that represent family. So I
Mhm.
notice a lot of people are getting the tattoos that people have, and you don't know that they're there. I
Mhm.
think those are the best. I mean, they have my vote on that
Thought those small ones would be so appealing, but
one.
uh,
Yeah,
it's the element of that too. Like, so when you talk
yeah,
about having something concealed or either
yeah,
something that's they're not microscopic, but it's an intimate part of the small ones that have a larger appeal. So it's almost like
yeah.
getting, you're saying more with less. And I
Yes,
love that.
and
I
less is
love that.
more. And I've noticed like small tattoos on women, like when they have them on their arms or on their shoulders or they're behind their ear. Those are noticeable to me. They're like because some tribe, some African or some tribes, all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
not just Africa,
Hmm.
but different types of indigenous people, their
Right.
tribes may have markings for their bodies, which is
That's right.
beautiful. I think it's something to think about, not something just, especially younger generation, before they start really, going into the workforce, depending on what they want to do. And,
Hmm.
you know, um, that's when that's more kind of thing. And kind of, I guess if you build up on it, you know,
Hmm.
the Warriors tattoo, like I think those are nice. the thick, the one like you had.
Mm-hmm.
You yeah, you posted on Instagram.
Yep. That was for,
Yeah,
I did that for National Tattoo Day, which I don't,
that was
a couple of
cool.
reasons, because I was like, I don't think a lot of people knew that that was a thing. And it was like, damn, I didn't know that was a day that they actually had that. And since I just
And it's
recently got some new ink, I was like, oh, this would be a kind of cool way of expressing that.
because people say it's so addictive, right?
It
And
is.
if it's like that, I probably
I
so
don't do the little tattoo thing. I go big and hard. So my tattoos are
right.
usually like 2 hours plus.
Oh
So
gosh.
um, yeah, it's a little fun because after a while you just kind of zone out. Richmond, Virginia used to have some of the best tattoo artists, man. And
Oh wow.
the bad
Okay.
thing about tattoo artists, though, the good and bad of it all, is like when you find a good person, I always call them gypsies because they do not generally stay in one place for
Oh
whatever reason.
gosh.
But every tattoo artist that I found, of course, when you find somebody like men, any man can attest to this too, and probably you women who get your hair done. When you find a good
Hmm.
person, you
Oh
want to hold
yeah.
on to them, and you definitely say, "Oh, I'll be back." And so,
Right.
generally, when I found good guys who were, I thought were amazing, and I liked their style of work and everything else, if I came back, they were usually gone. Or if I,
Oh
tried to set
gosh.
an appointment, they were like, "Oh yeah, they no longer work here." And I think to
Oh
this day that
wow.
still carries on as such. Nonetheless, the
That's why
only
you gotta
kind
get
of,
their numbers. That's why I get people's numbers. You gotta get people's phone numbers. Like when you know they're that good, you get their personal numbers.
yeah, and the game has changed now because this is before Instagram and everything. Now I can't say that, but when in the earlier times when I was getting them done in the what that was like mid '90s, I think, when I got my first tattoo,
Hmm.
whatever. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, it wasn't like you could go on Instagram and find somebody or whatever. So that's
Right.
all changed. So that doesn't really exist. Well,
Right.
they can still travel around, but you may be able to find what new parlor they may have
Right.
transitioned over to. You can tell the different variations of how people have a particular technique, and
Right.
some people
Right.
do flowers or intricate details better than the next
Oh, I
person. Some
love
people do
that.
more elaborate stuff. Yeah, and so the current person, I'm gonna give her a shout out to. Her name is Dee, and her husband name is Michael, and they used to actually have, it was a spot in College Park, Maryland, Greater Southern,
Hmm.
and this woman is phenomenal with like line work, and she's excellent.
Mm.
Mike is good too. I'm not that familiar with Mike's work, but they were renting their shop out in College Park off of Baltimore Avenue, and
Okay.
what worked out for them was that the gentleman that owned the place was selling it,
Oh,
and they were
okay.
trying to work out a deal. I don't know if they were trying to buy it or not, but things just didn't work out. But what did work out better for them was they got their own shop, which is
Great.
still in College Park, in this nice, beautiful, intimate part of College Park. And they it's like a house with 3 rooms. It's all flat level and beautiful setup. But
Hmm.
I'm only bringing that up again just to stay back on target with what we're speaking of. It's just her
Yeah.
line work in detail to, because a lot of my tattoos are like tribal, and they have
Hmm.
and they're all custom. So the stuff that I
Yeah.
do, we kind of either make up on the spot, or it's a
Mhm.
collaborative effort. And she
Right.
does amazing work with Polynesian tattoos too. So my stuff is a bit
Wow.
Polynesian mixed in with tribal, and
That's
you
beautiful.
man, and it's not an easy thing to do because when you do custom work like that, it has to fit right on your arm, and there's some other
Right.
variables that go along in doing something like that. And
Right.
she is amazing with what she does, and even within this talk, I'll post up her information, so if anybody was curious.
Yeah.
Because matter of fact, when I
So
posted
look, I'm
on,
curious. Look, I'm curious now. Look, you got me thinking. Oh, do I need to go visit?
well, here's the thing, like, so some of my friends have them, and my boy hit me up like right after I posted on IG. He said, "Hey man, who did your work?" And I said, "I'll send you her information because that's because he has tattoos too." And
Uh-huh.
like I said, there's certain people you just know, you see it when in their work. It's reflected in their work, depending on. Not everyone can do the same thing. I think when it comes to tattoos, some people do portraits better than the next. Some people do line work better than the next, and so on and so on.
Right.
So yeah, they have a great setup and a
Mhm.
beautiful shop.
That's a panther and a dragon. Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
have a
all of
question. You know what my next question is going to be.
what does it symbolize?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yin and yang.
For you. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's they're intertwined, so it's like in the infinite loop of an eight. The duality of good and evil, or however you want to see it, as above, so
Oh,
below,
nice.
is that concept. And
Hmm.
yeah, they take about a couple of hours to or more.
Can you describe the sensation? Like, can you put it
It's
in
like
words?
a burning sensation. It's a needle dragging on your skin, and
Hmm.
you're you're gonna bleed, and
Right?
so it burns. And so
Wow.
after a while, you just become numb to the pain, depending on your tolerance level. It's just a mental thing. It's the metaphysical part of it all. It's like you zone
Okay.
out, and then you don't really feel it to an extent, or you just you become I don't want to say completely desensitized to the feeling,
You
but it
become one
does
with the needle? Look, you
a
become one
little
with the
bit. I
needle?
mean, it does
Yeah.
feel a little good in a way sometimes. Any tattoos you've seen on men where you just like, oh, they shouldn't have got that.
Depending on I think it all depends how you carry it. Like, that's another
Mm.
thing, like how
Okay,
people
good point.
carry a tattoo. I've seen somebody that I went out with once, twice, that had the word
Okay.
April on his neck, right? And I mean, it was really interesting because,
Oh, good point. Good. That's a
yeah,
good one. We didn't touch on that. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Again, it was like to tattoo or not to
To
tattoo.
tattoo. I love that title. I love that
That's
title.
the question. Even though it's like it's
Hmm.
a burning. I guess how some people would get off on like burning candle wax. So some people
Yeah. Oh,
break that in like their
that's
sex
another
play.
conversation. Yeah.
Conversation.